Okay, so it's been a little while since we heard from San Francisco as well as Oregon. And I think the last time I did a report on San Francisco was like last year, July or August. This was part of the clip that I showed.
International tourists.
Today, we've seen a total of 7 foreign tourists. Can you believe that? Just 7 people.
Sam Sohal, CEO of City Sightseeing, says most riders these days are domestic visitors, but even that number is down compared to last year.
Now that report was done in the summer season, and a lot of time has passed, and I'm actually really wondering how that bus company is doing. But fast forward to today, and adding like a mountain of other reasons why we're not going to the United States, some of these businesses are still struggling to survive. So in this video, I'm going to show the report out of San Francisco. And they're not just missing Canadians, there's another country that they're missing as well, and I'll tell you in a bit. Also, sticking to the West Coast, I have an article here that comes out of Oregon, and they give their reasons on why they feel the Canadians are not coming down. You know, if these states really wanted the real reason, why not just talk to an actual Canadian? I mean, that seems like common sense, doesn't it? Anyways, we'll go through this article together, and I'm going to give my feedbacks on Oregon. But first, let's get started on the report out of San Francisco.
There are some positive signs of progress and some lingering uncertainty in San Francisco's post-pandemic recovery. A new report from the state's Tourism Bureau found that last year, visitors spent an all-time record of $14.2 billion in San Francisco. That is up 3% from 2024. But as Kenny Choi reports, there's one major demographic that the city's tourism industry is sorely missing.
San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie says the city's #1 industry isn't tech, it's not AI, it's tourism. Economists say that bringing international travelers back, especially from China, will be a key driver moving forward for the local economy.
Now, I once had a MAGA hater email me and say, you know what, we don't need Canadians coming to the United States. We got other countries that will come, and they spend more money than you guys. And that was when I first created my channel, so I was getting a ton of MAGA views. But that did not age very well. Because it's not just Canada that's boycotting the United States, it's pretty much the rest of the world. But when you lose the China tourists, you're actually losing a lot of money. Take a look at this chart here. It shows the world's biggest tourism spenders. And who's at the top? China. They're in first, and by a long shot as well. So not only has the United States and San Francisco lost the Canadians, but they lost the Chinese as well, who spend a lot of money. And they're trying to get them back. So in a sense, I guess that MAGA hater was actually right. There are countries that spend more than Canada when they go on vacation. Australia, France, UK, Germany, and China. But how many citizens in these countries that I just listed out actually still want to go to the United States? I guess that MAGA guy that emailed me didn't really think about that. But then again, MAGA doesn't really think on their own to begin with. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me on this. And if you agree and you're not subscribed, help the channel out by hitting that subscribe button below. It does help the algorithm to push my videos out to more people.
How many of you guys get hungry, hot chowder and cocktails? Got tables inside.
Whenever someone walks by Sabella and Latorre in Fisherman's Wharf, it's a chance to win some customers. Luis Ruano is desperately trying to bring them in.
Like these days are now it's kind of slow. It's very slow.
Ruano has been working here for 12 years and has a keen sense of the ups and downs in the market.
Now, this report kind of contradicts itself because in the beginning they said they had a record year and they were up 3%. Yet this manager at this restaurant says he's struggling. So which is it?
Lawrence Guillermo and his family just landed from the Philippines despite rising costs.
So we just purchased a ticket like a couple of weeks ago, and the price of the ticket is a little bit higher than the usual.
New numbers from Visit California, the state's tourism bureau, show travel and tourism spending rose last year in both San Francisco and California, despite a $1 billion decline statewide from international visitors. Alex Bastian is president of the SF Hotel Council.
And we've already seen the deficit closing and getting better for our city by the increased numbers in the travel and hospitality space. And if we continue to grow, if we continue to push forward and persevere as a city, there's no question the tax base is going to grow.
Overall,
like I said, something doesn't really add up here. Because when you see all the articles and news reports when it comes to San Francisco, everything looks like great, apparently. But when you talk to the business owners or the managers, they tell a completely different story. Let me know in the comments below who you believe.
all international travel to San Francisco has fully recovered from the pandemic, according to the Bay Area Council, a business-backed policy group that represents 375 of the largest employers in the region. But passenger loads from China are still about 22% below pre-pandemic levels.
Obviously really matters because they're spending a longer time visiting, They're spending more than other international tourists, so bringing more of them back would have an outsized impact on some of those small business impacts, foot traffic, hotel revenue.
So 22% below pandemic levels is actually pretty big. And in my opinion, those numbers are not going to come back anytime soon. Let's not forget, China also has a reason to be pissed off at the United States. They have been one of the big targets of the orange guys' tariffs, and the China citizens are not going to forget this as well. And last year, April, some of the citizens and business owners in China, they were so pissed off that they started exposing luxury brands in the United States. And not only that, the China citizens started mocking the United States with these AI photos, when the orange guy said he was going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. So the Chinese citizens do have a right to be pissed off. And I don't think San Francisco should expect that 20% drop to improve anytime soon.
Data shows Chinese visitors to San Francisco spend 2 to 3 times more than a domestic visitor. Abby Royce is VP of Research.
The fact that the rest of Asia has recovered 28% in terms of pre-pandemic passenger volumes, and at the same time the Chinese market declined 22%. I mean, that's a huge discrepancy. So clearly there's more work to be done to get those people back.
As city leaders work to boost tourism, local vendors are hoping that effort makes a difference.
Not that many tourist people coming by.
Seriously, I want to hear more from this guy. I don't want to hear from these tourism executives or analysts or whatever else. This guy's on the front lines. And you notice they only gave him like literally 2 seconds to speak? His opinion means more to me than any analyst. Because this is just my opinion, but I don't believe any numbers that are coming out of some official. I'll believe the numbers that are coming out of this general manager of a restaurant when he says that he's struggling and he's begging for people to come into his restaurant. So let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with me on this, or do you believe the numbers that they're actually showing?
San Francisco Travel, the city's tourism bureau, will present updated numbers later this spring.
Mayor Daniel Lurie is doing his part to promote tourism. On his first international trip, he's visiting Seoul, South Korea, one of San Francisco's sister cities. The mayor will be meeting with city officials and visiting the homes of Giants player Young-Hoo Lee. And it comes after a stop in Shanghai while Mayor Lurie was there. He signed a memo of understanding between the San Francisco Ballet and the Shanghai International Arts Festival. He also signed an agreement between the Shanghai Natural History Museum and Cal Academy of Sciences.
You know, the fact that he has to go to South Korea and China to try to make these deals to get the people back. I mean, any government official can make a deal to make things easier for people to travel to the United States. But ultimately, it's going to be up to the people of these countries to decide whether or not they want to go visit the United States or not. So this mayor's trip to Asia, I don't know, this is just my opinion, but I think my gut is telling me that it's a waste of time. Now moving on, staying on the West Coast. One of our viewers sent me this article that comes out of Oregon, and it's titled, Fewer International Tourists Visited Oregon in 2025. Here's what's driving the decline. I should state that this is what they think the decline is coming from. We in Canada, as well as the rest of the world, actually know why the decline is happening. Now I'm going to read out this article because I do realize that I do have a lot of viewers that are just listening or visually impaired and actually do want me to read it out. I'm not going to lie, I actually don't like reading out loud. I read way faster with my eyes than I do speak. I mean, in my line of work, I read code, I read Gantt charts and configuration files, but none of it out loud. So this does give me an opportunity to practice my reading out loud. So getting started on the article. Before Oregon could rebound to its pre-pandemic international tourism levels, the state experienced another setback in 2025 that is persisting into this year. Shifts in the political climate and global trade tensions under the Orange Guy administration are impacting people's decision to come to the United States, according to traveler experts, and that also includes Oregon. The impact is especially noticeable among Canadian visitors, who were the state's largest international tourist group in 2024. Canada accounted for 29% of international visitor spending in Oregon in 2024, spending the most out of any foreign group at $211 million that year, making it Oregon's most important international tourist market, according to the Tourism Economic Report. Tourists from China were Oregon's second largest international spenders. We just talked about China. According to 8% of the international spending of the state, followed by visitors from the United Kingdom, India, and Germany. Okay, so you have Canada, you have China, United Kingdom, India, and Germany as the top spenders in Oregon. Out of the 5 countries I just listed, how many of these countries has the orange guy pissed off? All 5 of them. I know we have viewers from all of these countries, even India, but not very much. But every single one of the citizens from these countries have shown their hate, disappointment, and disgust with the United States. And to be honest, some of them are actually saying that I'm going too light on the United States. But I know what's going to happen this year. They're going to realize that Canada, 14, 15 months into it, okay, they're not coming back. So let's start looking at other countries. Let's start promoting to the UK, Germany, India, to see if we can lure them back. And I think they're going to be pleasantly shocked when they're not getting the responses that they thought they would. Now back to the article. But fewer international tourists, particularly Canadians, are choosing to visit Oregon. US tensions with Canada have escalated as the Orange guy has repeatedly called making the Canada the 51st state. Okay, I'll give them credit for actually saying it. Threatened to impose tariffs on it as high as 100% and suggested blocking a bridge connecting the Canadian province of Ontario to Michigan. We've received emails from Canadian visitors that shared with us a very strong desire to come to Oregon, said Todd Davison, the Travel Oregon Executive Director. Some have been to Oregon before, some were planning their first trip to Oregon, but they just didn't feel like they could at this time. Now, I kind of feel like this response from a Canadian. I feel like he cherry-picked this one because it isn't the general tone of what Canadians are actually feeling. Because there was a time period where like the viewers are actually CCing me into their emails to these tourism executives. And let's just say you guys don't hold back at all. But I always get this sense that the United States tourism officials and executives, they still feel that we want to come to the United States, but we're not because of these stupid tariff reasonings that they're giving. And if they actually listen to us Canadians, they would know how pissed off we are and that we actually want nothing to do with them anymore. It's a bit of arrogance thinking that no matter what happens, we still want to go to the United States. And let me show this clip out of Oregon that happened last year, because this one really rubs me the wrong way.
Groups like First Nature Tours are urging Canadians to embrace our natural resources and not be afraid to admit they like Oregon.
Now, I've showed this clip many times. I mean, I think if you're a regular on my channel, you've seen this multiple times. But I'm showing it to show the arrogance, that they think that we need to admit that we love their country. This comment alone, like, it sticks with me, and call me petty. But after hearing this, I want nothing to do with Oregon. I don't even want to visit Portland or anything anymore. Well, to be honest, I never did, but it still leaves a black mark when it comes to Oregon. But this is just a reminder that this happens everywhere, and this is what they actually think of Canada, that we'll just cave, and we shouldn't resist our feelings for the United States. Getting back to the article, the next section is titled, Portland, Oregon Coast Getting Hit Disproportionately. The decline in international tourism was felt mostly strong in Portland, Davidson said, because it acts as a hub for international travel, because of the airport and access to the Interstate 5 corridor that connects to Canada. Historically, many Canadians drive through Portland first to experience the city's dining scene and to shop without sales tax. I used to do that a long time ago. According to Jason Brandt, President and CEO of Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association. But small businesses, particularly in the hospitality industry, are immediately seeing the impact firsthand, he said. It's tough when you're so closely located to the Canadian border, and you have one of Oregon's largest And you have one of Oregon's largest private sector industries. The hospitality industry, ready and willing to welcome Canadians with open arms. And show... Does anyone else cringe when you hear that now? I mean, it's almost as bad as like hearing the orange guy say, like never before, or the likes we have never seen before. Some bullshit like that. I can't stand it when they say open arms and, we'll welcome you anymore. It's a trigger for me. Anyways, I got distracted. Ready and willing to welcome Canadians with open arms and show them how much we have to offer here in Oregon. But have this roadblock, if you will, based on political tensions that are much bigger than the state of Oregon itself, Brandt said. The Oregon Coast, another popular tourist spot because of its publicly accessed coastline, is also feeling the impact of fewer foreign tourists. A lack of Canadian visitors was noticed immediately after the political issue, said Wayne Patterson, the executive director of Greater Newport Chamber of Commerce. Another Chamber of Commerce guy. Newport is home to Oregon's Coast Aquarium, Yaquina Head Lighthouse, as known as the Dungeness crab capital of the world. It's a popular destination for travelers, and it sits 13 miles south of Depot Bay, a popular hub for whale watching. It took longer to feel the loss of international visitors because many booked their flights, hotels, and activities in advance, Patterson said. However, with Canadians with more flexible plans to drive to Oregon Coast were able to cancel their bookings immediately. Yup, we pressed that effing cancel button immediately. And he actually brought up a good point when it came to the advanced bookings. Because last year, I feel the numbers were skewed. And I've said this on my channel plenty of times. 2025 had skewed numbers because people were booked in 2024. And when you're booked that far in advance in 2024 for a trip in 2025, and you can't get a refund, and the orange guy comes in like a wrecking ball, some people had no choice but to go on their vacations to the United States. But in 2026, we don't have that problem anymore, because anyone that did not want to go to the United States did not book last year for trips this year. Now, obviously, there's still going to be some Canadians that are going to be booking this year to go to the United States and, suit themselves. But I'm specifically talking about the Canadians that booked in 2024 and couldn't get out of their vacations. And that is why I think we're still seeing a decline in 2026. I'm far from being an expert, and this is just my opinion, but that's just my gut feeling. Now, like always, with every US media report or article, they always have to end on the bright side. I mean, literally, this article ends with a subsection called A Bright Spot. Let me read this one out to you. Other economic factors contributing to the international tourism decline include inflation and strength of the US dollar. Yeah, fuck that. Which makes the US a more expensive travel destination, Davidson said. Mr. Davidson, do you realize that Canadians are actually traveling to Europe and the UK, which is a lot more expensive for us to go to versus the United States? So your argument is saying that the strength of the US dollar does not hold any merit. Back to the article. Additionally, Oregon doesn't have any direct flights to Asia. Prior to the pandemic, China and Japan were Oregon's top overseas market for tourism. What? Really? Those markets have been slower to recover than European markets, Davidson said. Now, I just got a question on this Oregon being the top overseas market for China and Japan. If that were the case, the direct flights from China and Japan to Oregon, they would still be active because the airline is not going to cut off a route that is making them money. And it doesn't really seem like China and Japan are really interested in Oregon anymore because the direct flights were cut. So something doesn't really add up here. And let me know if I'm wrong on this or if I'm going in the wrong direction. But let me finish off their bright spot. However, a bright spot ahead in the upcoming FIFA World Cup and eventually during the summer 2020 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, Brand said. With the World Cup hosting games in Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, Oregon should expect international travelers driving up and down the I-5 corridor this summer, he said. Now, do you believe Oregon is going to benefit from the FIFA World Cup? Do you think people will stop by when they're traveling from Seattle to California? First off, I don't think there's going to be many international people traveling between Seattle and California. But the state of Oregon seems to be depending on the international travel on the I-5 and expecting that people will stop by. The way I kind of see it, it's like driving past a gas station in the middle of nowhere, asking the people in the car, hey, do you have to stop by to go pee? People say no, so they keep going. It kind of reminds me of a report I did out of Colorado. And somehow they were figuring that they were going to benefit from the World Cup when they're nowhere near any of the host cities. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of these cities and states are utilizing the name FIFA to try to boost up their tourism. But it seems like Oregon is grasping at straws here. But I guess we'll find out the final outcome once the FIFA World Cup is finished. Now to close off this video, I would like to thank tgill911 for posting this photo on the Guard the Leaf Hey Cafe page. And he took this from Tofino on Vancouver Island. Can you please eat this? Here, I'm almost finished. Eat that. Sorry about that. But I want to thank you, T. Gill, for posting a photo from my home province. And for everybody that is on the Hey Cafe website, I encourage you to continue posting your photos from where you're from in Canada. And if you want them to be used in my videos, just remember to have them in landscape orientation. Alright, I think I really need to end this video because you can hear the co-host. She's going a little bit crazy right now. But I do want to end this video for those that are still watching right now because I really do appreciate you watching to the end because it really does help the algorithm to push my video out to more people. But as my thanks for you guys watching to the end, here's some more Biscuit videos. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that will show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.